My name is Adrian Murray, and you might be able to imagine my dismay sitting out in the audience today and hearing 99.5% of the information I was going to give and the statistics I was going to cite already cited. So I figure we'll just wing it. Y'all good with that?
Yeah.
How many of you were taught in high school that the Civil War ended slavery in America? How many? We were told that with the Emancipation Proclamation and the 13th Amendment, which was passed or ratified in December 1865, that America had finally put her slave past behind her. Let us read the 13th Amendment. It's very short. It says, "Neither slavery nor involuntary servitude, except as a punishment for crime whereof the party shall have been duly convicted, shall exist within the United States or any place subject to their jurisdiction." We reword it a little bit. Neither slavery nor involuntary servitude shall exist within the United States except as a punishment for crime. Slavery was never abolished in the United States. It was simply redefined. And you might imagine that the former slave owners in the South after the war, with 4 million relatively ticked off newly freed slaves in their midst, understood what that amendment said. And so they instituted what was known as the Black Codes. It's a part of American history you don't hear a lot about. I don't think it's taught in our history books. It wasn't when I was in school. The Black Codes were laws which pertained solely to the recently freed slaves. It controlled their movements, their work, and it only applied to them. Essentially, what they did was they made illegal or criminalized things which were not crimes. Sound familiar? Under the Black Codes and later under Jim Crow, hundreds of thousands of formerly freed slaves were re-enslaved. Often, they created a system called convict leasing. This went on for 63 years after the end of the Civil War. They didn't have the facilities for all these incarcerated former slaves. And so they leased them out, often to the very plantations where they were enslaved prior, and to coal mines, and to build railroads. This went on until 1928. It was so lucrative to be leasing out these prisoners for crimes, who were incarcerated for crimes which really didn't exist and didn't apply to the white population, that at one point the state of Alabama noted that 75% of all of its revenues came from leasing out human beings in the new slave trade in America. Now fast forward to 1983. We're now 12 years into the war on drugs. 1983, there were 41,000 people incarcerated in the United States in jails for nonviolent drug offenses. 1983 saw the founding of the first for-profit prison corporation in America, the Corrections Corporation of America, later to be followed by another group called GEO Corporation. They knew that in order to maximize their shareholder value, that they had to keep their beds full, as they don't call them cells, they call them beds, as if they were guests. And it was in 1983 that the war on drugs went into overdrive in order to supply a steady stream of customers for the now for-profit prison system. They'd taken a page out of the Black Codes and made it criminalize something which was not a crime, such as marijuana. And of course, today, as you know, over 1 million are incarcerated in this war on drugs. And I'm not going to take up a lot of time here because I know we're running behind. And I just want to say one thing to you, that that's the reason I am here. I do not partake in the pleasures of cannabis. I certainly agree, though, that you have a right to do so. I have a right to choose not to. You have a right to choose to. And this phony war on drugs is simply a money business. These two, CCA and GEO, today own and operate over 100 prisons, both state and federal, in the United States, most of them in the South. And last year they had combined revenues of $4 billion. And they are the ones who are lobbying the state legislatures and the federal government for stiffer sentencing. Here we go, to Mario. For stiffer sentences, for minimum sentences, because there's a lot of money to be made in incarcerating people. And America has become the world's largest prison right before our eyes. 1 in every 130 people in America is in jail. Now, I have been asked the last couple of weeks, and when I accepted the invitation to speak here by several friends, Adrian, what in the world are you thinking speaking to a group like NORML? You know, I'm a conservative business owner here in town, I think fairly well established. And my answer was that these people get it. That you understand that this is not a struggle to get high. This is a struggle to get free. And that this, that what this is about liberty. And I am very proud to stand before you today and say that I join you in this struggle. And that one day we will see a free America again. And we will bring justice and liberty back to America. Thank you all for being here and for everything that you do.